Polly spent the whole week spring cleaning. Every surface of the big fig sparkled. "There!" cried Polly at last, putting away her broom. Not a thing was out of place except, Polly noticed, the front doormat. Polly went to move it back when she saw a small brown paper corner poking out from underneath. "What's this?" said Polly. Rock and Sundrop gathered around. It was a parcel addressed to the Quincys. "Who is it from?" asked Sundrop. Polly turned it around. There were no clues. "Open it," suggested Rock. Carefully, Polly opened one end. Inside the parcel was an even smaller parcel and a note. Polly sniffed the packet. It smelt like earth. She held it to her ear. It rattled. "Curious," she said. Rock, being the best reader, took the note. He studied it. "All it says," he said at last, "is help." "How strange," said Sundrop, taking a closer look. It was true, the note only had one word, and the packet that rattled gave no more away. Rock opened it. "Seeds," he said. "The parcel is full of tiny little seeds. But who would want to send us seeds, and why?" "Maybe we should have a cup of tea while we think," suggested Sundrop, disappearing into the kitchen to put on the kettle. Minutes later she reappeared. "Oh dear, we're out of honey," she said. "I'll just nip down to see the bees and ask for some more." Sundrop packed her pot carefully in her bicycle basket and scooted down to the beehive. Tap, tap. "Hello," called Sundrop into the hive. The hive was unusually quiet. "Bees, are you home? It's me, Sundrop. I was just wondering if I could trouble you for some honey." There was no reply. Sundrop gently lifted the lid and peered inside. Nothing. The hive was completely empty. Sundrop hopped back on her bike and scooted home as fast as she could to tell the others. "Rock, Polly," called Sundrop, running into the big fig. "The bees are gone." "Gone? But where?" asked Polly. "I don't know. They've just disappeared." Said Rock, scratching his chin. He looked thoughtful. "Bees like flowers, yes? So maybe the bees are out collecting nectar from the flowers." "The only thing to do," said Polly, "is find the flowers. Where there are flowers, there'll be bees. Come on." She motioned for the others to follow and jumped on her bike. They wound around the forest, following the path. They looked under trees near the river and in the open field. There was not a flower or a bee to be seen. "Toodles," said Sundrop, jumping off her bike and burying her head in her knees. "No flowers, no bees, and no honey for our tea," she sobbed. Rock and Polly sat down next to her. After a moment, Rock sprang to his feet. "So there are no bees and no flowers. Maybe the bees have gone somewhere else to look for flowers. If we plant flowers here, the bees will return." "The seeds," they all said at once, remembering the strange packet that had arrived earlier. The Quincys cycled home, collected the seeds and their gardening tools. They planted sunflowers in the garden, lavender by the path, poppies in the field, and snowdrops under the trees. They carried water from the river to water them in. "We must be patient," said Rock. "I suggest we go back to the garden and stay busy," said Polly. "We'll just have to get used to not having honey in our tea until our bee friends return." Through spring the seeds began to sprout. First the sunflowers, then the poppies. The lavender came into flower in summer, and snowdrops lay beneath the soil to emerge the following spring. One summer's day the Quincys worked hard in their garden, pulling carrots from the soil, digging potatoes, and trimming beans from the vine. Bzzz, bzzz. "What was that?" cried Polly. "Bzzz, bzzz." A single bee flew around a sunflower. Then another joined it, then another and another. The garden was alive with the sound of bees. "They're back!" cried the Quincys. "The bees are finally back!" When they returned to the big fig, the Quincys had a visitor. "Auntie Nina Sundance!" they cried. Auntie Nina squeezed them in a hug. "Hello, Quincys! Did you get my parcel?" she asked. "A little froggy told me there were no flowers left in the forest, so I guessed that the bees would have gone elsewhere. And you know how I feel about honey in my tea. It was an emergency situation." The Quincys looked at each other. Funny old Auntie Nina, sending a packet of seeds with no explanation at all. "Oh, yes," said Sundrop. "In fact, I was just on my way now to collect honey from the hive. Back soon." Once more she cradled her empty honey pot in her bicycle basket and set off to the bees. "Hello, bees," whispered Sundrop into the hive. "May I please have some honey?" There was a buzz of approval. She lifted the lid and reached in for a block of beeswax oozing with delicious golden honey. Thank you, bees, said Sundrop. Now we have honey for our tea. Thank you for coming back to the forest.
Swinging